Hey everyone, it's your family doctor here. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about something that affects so many of us, something we often don't think about until it starts acting up. I'm talking about your heart. I've been practicing medicine for over 10 years now, and I've lost count of how many patients I've seen who spend hundreds of dollars on expensive supplements, exotic herbs, and all kinds of miracle heart tonics. They'll walk into my office with bags full of stuff they bought online or at the health food store, and they'll tell me, Doc, I spent $200 on this and I still feel terrible. And you know what? Their heart health doesn't improve. Sometimes it even gets worse. Why? Because they're guessing. They don't actually know what their body needs. They're throwing things at the wall and hoping something sticks. And honestly, a lot of what's out there is just clever marketing designed to separate you from your money. So today, I want to break this down clearly from start to finish so you never have to guess again. I'm going to give you three specific food-based combinations. Each one targets a different type of heart imbalance. Once you understand which type fits you, you can do simple at-home support for your heart without wasting money and without chasing after expensive remedies that probably don't even work for your specific situation. We're talking about real food that you can find at your local grocery store or specialty market, not some exotic supplement from a website you've never heard of. Before we dive in, a quick but important disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. Always consult your own doctor before making changes, especially if you have a known heart condition, take medication, or are pregnant or nursing. I'm here to help you understand the science and the traditional wisdom, not replace professional medical advice. If you have chest pain, shortness of breath, or any concerning symptoms, please call 911 or see a doctor immediately. Don't wait. Why Lotus seeds? Let's really understand this king of heart foods. So let's start with the star of today's show, Lotus seeds. Why do they get so much attention when it comes to heart health, and why have they been used for thousands of years in various traditional systems? Let me walk you through this. In traditional medicine, the heart is seen as a fire, and the kidneys are seen as water in a healthy body. The heart's fire warms the kidneys, and the kidneys' water rises to cool the heart. It's a beautiful, continuous cycle. They call it water and fire in harmony. When that cycle is working properly, you feel calm, rested, and balanced. You sleep well, you have energy, your mind is clear. When that balance is disrupted, when the fire blazes too hot or the water runs too low, you start seeing problems: insomnia, heart palpitations, anxiety, restlessness, brain fog, ringing in your ears, lower back ache, and even issues like night sweats or frequent urination. A lot of these symptoms, if you really trace them back, come from this core imbalance between your heart and your kidneys. And the tricky part is that most people don't connect these symptoms to their heart health. They think it's just stress or aging or that's just how I am. And here's why Lotus seeds are so special. They work on both sides of that equation. They grow in water, which is associated with the kidneys. They're white, which is associated with the lungs, and the lungs feed the kidneys. They taste sweet, which is associated with the spleen, your digestive engine that produces energy and blood, and their nature is neutral, not too hot, not too cold. So they don't burn you up like some warming herbs, and they don't chill you out like some cooling ones. They're gentle, balanced, and incredibly versatile. You can use them whether you tend to run hot or cold, which is rare. Let me share a little fun fact with you: that little green shoot inside the lotus seed, that's called the lotus plumule, and it's actually a separate herb. It's bitter, and it specifically targets excess heat in the heart. The white flesh of the seed is sweet and nourishing. So in one tiny seed, you have a cooling part and a nourishing part. One clears, one fills. That's nature's design at its finest. It's like nature knew we'd need both options. For those of you who like evidence-based medicine, I've got you covered. Modern research has found that lotus seeds are rich in protein, starch, phospholipids, alkaloids, and flavonoids. The alkaloids have been shown to have a calming, sedative effect, which can improve sleep quality. The flavonoids have antioxidant properties that help protect your cardiovascular system. There's also evidence that lotus seeds may help lower blood pressure and improve lipid profile. So the traditional wisdom and the modern science are actually pointing in the same direction. That always gives me confidence when I recommend something to my patients. I like to tell them your grandmother knew what she was talking about, and now science is catching up. Now let's get personal. What's actually going on with your heart? I want you to pause for a second. Don't just brush this off. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to answer them honestly. This is important because you can't fix a problem if you don't know what it is. Do you ever feel your heart racing or fluttering out of nowhere? Even when you're just sitting on the couch watching television, do you lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, unable to fall asleep because your mind won't shut off? When you do sleep, do you have vivid, Restless dreams that leave you feeling more tired in the morning than when you went to bed? Do you feel tightness in your chest like you just can't take a full deep breath even when you're relaxed? Do you get winded after walking up one flight of stairs or even just across the parking lot at Walmart? Do you find yourself snapping at your spouse, your kids, or your coworkers over things that never used to bother you? Do you feel like your energy is just gone and no amount of coffee can bring it back? Are you constantly thirsty with a dry mouth that never seems to go away? If you answered yes to even one of these, your heart is trying to tell you something, and I want you to listen. Because these are early signals. They're not things to ignore or brush under the rug. They're not just stress or just getting older. They're your body waving a flag and saying, hey, pay attention to me. In traditional medicine, heart problems usually fall into three main categories. Let me walk you through each one so you can figure out which one sounds like you. And remember, it's possible to have a mix of more than one. We'll talk about what to do in that case later. Type 1 heart blood deficiency. Think of your heart as a car engine. It needs oil. That's your blood to run smoothly and quietly. When your blood supply is low, that engine starts to sputter, knock, and overheat. The car still runs, but it's not happy about it. And eventually, if you don't address it, it's going to break down. So what does this look like in real life? Your face might look pale or dull without that healthy glow. You might look in the mirror and think, I look washed out. Your lips might look light pink or even white. You might feel your heart pounding or skipping beats for no obvious reason, especially when you're lying in bed trying to sleep. You lie in bed at night, but sleep doesn't come easily, and when it does, you have strange, exhausting dreams that leave you feeling drained. You walk into a room and forget why you're there. You misplace your keys constantly. You can't remember names the way you used to. For women, your periods might be light and the color might be pale instead of a healthy red. Your nails might be brittle. Your hair might be thinning. These are all classic signs that your heart isn't getting the nourishment it needs. Now, why does this happen? There are a lot of reasons. Maybe you've had a history of heavy periods. Maybe you've been eating poorly and not getting enough iron or B vitamins. Maybe you've been under so much stress that your digestion has slowed down and your body just isn't making enough blood anymore. Maybe you're a vegetarian or vegan and you're not getting enough bioavailable iron. Maybe you've had surgery or an injury that caused blood loss. Whatever the cause, the solution is to nourish and rebuild, and that's exactly what our first combination does, type 2 heart chi deficiency. Now, chi is a little harder to translate, but think of it as your vital energy, the force that pushes your blood through your vessels. It's your get up and go. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. You can have plenty of blood, but if you don't have enough energy to move it around, it's like having a full tank of gas but a dead battery. Nothing moves. The car is full of fuel, but it just won't start. What does this feel like? You're tired all the time. Not just, I need a nap tired. I mean, bone deep exhaustion that doesn't go away no matter how much you sleep. You can sleep 10 hours and still feel like you need a nap. You get short of breath from doing simple things like walking upstairs or carrying groceries from the car to the kitchen. Your heartbeat might feel weak, like it's just not pumping with any force. You can feel your pulse and it feels thready and faint. You sweat easily. Even with minimal activity, your voice might sound soft and weak, like you just don't have the energy to project. You feel like you're dragging yourself through the day. Everything feels like an effort. Your friends and family might tell you that you look tired all the time. And here's the thing, this type is incredibly common today. Why? Because we're staying up too late, staring at screens for 12 hours a day, running on caffeine and sugar and never giving our bodies a chance to recover. We're burning through our energy reserves and wondering why we feel empty. We're stressed out by work, by finances, by family obligations. We're constantly in go mode and never in rest mode. Think about it. How many hours of sleep are you actually getting? Are you eating regular meals? Or are you grabbing a granola bar and calling it lunch? Are you moving your body, or are you sitting at a desk from 9 to 9? Are you taking breaks, or are you pushing through exhaustion? All of these things drain your chi, and over time, your heart, which depends on that chi to pump blood effectively, starts to struggle. Type 3 heart fire excess. This one is the opposite. Instead of being empty, you're on fire. Literally, it feels like there's a furnace burning in your chest. This isn't heartburn. This is a different kind of heat. It's emotional, mental, and physical all at once. What does this look like? You're irritable, you snap at people, little things that never bothered you before suddenly make you furious. Your spouse leaves the cap off the toothpaste and you feel like screaming. Your coworker asks a question and you bite their head off. You're constantly thirsty, but no matter how much water you drink, your mouth still feels dry. You get canker sores in your mouth all the time, and your tongue looks really red, especially at the tip at night. You toss and turn, and your brain just won't shut off. You lie there thinking about work, about your to-do list, about that thing you said 3 years ago that you still cringe over. Your urine might be dark yellow, and you might be constipated. Your chest feels hot and tight. You might even feel a pulsing sensation in your temples. This type is everywhere in modern life. We eat rich, heavy foods, lots of red meat, fried foods, spicy food. We drink too much coffee and alcohol. We're constantly stressed and anxious, which keeps our nervous system in overdrive. And we stay up late staring at screens, which keeps our brains in overdrive. All of that fans the fire. It's like throwing gasoline on a campfire. The fire grows and grows until it's out of control. Now, take a moment. Which one sounds like you? Be honest with yourself. Maybe you're a mix. That's common too. Once you know your type, you'll know exactly which combination to use. And if you're a mix, well, talk about how to alternate combination 1 for heart blood deficiency, lotus seeds plus longan plus red dates. This combination is specifically for you if you're pale, constantly tired, have trouble sleeping, forget things easily, or have light periods. Listen up, because this one might be your new best friend. It's gentle, nourishing, and effective. Let me explain how each ingredient works, because I think understanding the why helps you stick with it. Lotus seeds are your foundation. They calm the heart, support your digestion, and help your body actually produce blood. See, your spleen, your digestive system, is where blood is made from the food you eat. If your digestion is weak, you can eat all the iron-rich foods in the world and still be anemic. Your body just can't convert what you're eating into usable blood. Lotus seeds strengthen that digestive engine so your body can manufacture the blood it needs. That's addressing the root cause, not just putting a Band-Aid on the symptom. Longan, also known as dragon eye, is a sweet, warming fruit that looks a little like an eyeball when it's fresh. It's incredibly common in many Asian grocery stores, and you can often find it dried in the international section of regular supermarkets too. In traditional texts, it's said to strengthen your memory and brighten your mind. Why? Because your heart houses your mind. When your heart is well nourished with blood, your brain works better, you think more clearly, you remember more easily, and you feel more mentally sharp. Longan directly nourishes that heart blood, but here's the catch on its own. It can be a little warming. That's why we pair it with lotus seeds, which are neutral and balance it out. You get the benefit without the overheating. Red dates or jujubes are everywhere. You can find them in any supermarket with an international section. And because they're so common, people often underestimate them. They're just dates. Right? Wrong. Let me tell you, these little fruits are powerful. They're red, which in traditional medicine means they go straight to the heart, they strengthen your digestion, boost your energy, and calm your mind. They also act as a harmonizer, making the whole combination work better together. They're like the mediator that helps all the other ingredients get along, so you've got lotus seeds building the foundation. Longan pouring in the fuel, and red dates making sure everything runs smoothly. This is what they call a balanced formula. Each ingredient supports the others, and together they're much more than the sum of their parts. How to use it? Here's the recipe. Grab a pen or take a screenshot. Lotus seeds, 30 grams, that's about a small handful. Longan, 20 grams, a little less than a handful. Red dates, 5 to 6 pieces. If they're really large, use fewer. If they're small, use a few more. First, soak your lotus seeds in water for about 2 hours. They're pretty hard, so this softens them up. Rinse your longan and red dates. If your dates are dried and hard, you can soak them too for about 30 minutes. Now you've got 3 ways to make this option. 1, make it as a porridge. Take about 100 grams of rice. Regular white rice is fine, but brown rice or even oatmeal works too. And cook it with water. When the rice is almost done, add your lotus seeds, longan, and dates, and let it all simmer for another 15 minutes. You've got a warm, hearty breakfast. Option 2, make it as a soup. Put all the ingredients in a pot with about 3 cups of water. Bring it to a boil. Then lower the heat and let it simmer for about 40 minutes. Add a little rock sugar if you like it sweet, but it's honestly fine without it. Option 3, make it as a tea. This is the easiest. Toss everything into a thermos, pour in boiling water, and let it steep for about 2 hours. Sip it throughout the day like you would any other tea. This is perfect for busy professionals who don't have time to cook. You can make it at night and take it to work the next morning. When should you take this? I recommend either first thing in the morning on an empty stomach or about an hour before bed. In the morning, it gives you energy for the day. At night, it calms you down and helps you sleep, but don't drink it right before bed or you'll be up all night running to the bathroom. How often, if your symptoms are pronounced, you're really pale, really tired, Really forgetful, you can have this every day for a month. If you're just maintaining 3 to 4 times a week is plenty. The key is consistency. Doing it once in a while isn't going to move the needle. Now, who should avoid this? A few groups. If you have a cold or the flu, skip it. Your body needs to fight off the infection. And taking tonics can actually trap the illness inside and make it last longer. If you have what we call damp heat, yellowish, greasy coating on your tongue, bitter taste in your mouth, sticky stools, dark urine, this is too rich for you. It'll make that worse. If you have diabetes, be careful with the longan and dates. They're high in sugar. You can use less or omit them and just use the lotus seeds alone. If you have acid reflux or GERD, the dates might trigger symptoms. Start with a smaller amount and see how you feel. You might find that cooked dates are easier on your stomach than raw ones. Let me share a real patient story with you. I had a patient in her mid-40s, a small business owner with 3 kids. She was under a ton of stress, and it showed. She came to me looking pale. Her lips were almost white, and she told me she hadn't slept well in months. She'd lie in bed, fall asleep, and then have the most bizarre, exhausting dreams during the day. She was forgetful and scatterbrained. She had already tried expensive supplements, things like deer antler extract, high-end herbal pills from a fancy wellness clinic, iron supplements that upset her stomach, and nothing worked. She was frustrated and discouraged. When I looked at her tongue, it was pale and thin. Her pulse was weak and thready. I told her, "Your problem isn't that you're not taking enough iron or blood tonics. Your problem is your digestion is too weak to absorb them. You're spending money on stuff that's just passing right through you. You've got a leaky bucket and you're trying to fill it up, but it's just leaking out." I had her stop all those expensive supplements and just eat this porridge, lotus, longan dates twice a day. Morning and evening. 1 month later, she came back, and let me tell you, the difference was night and day. Her cheeks had color, her eyes were bright and clear. She told me she was sleeping through the night and waking up actually feeling rested. And she said the brain fog had lifted. She could think clearly again. She told me, "I feel like I got my life back." She was more patient with her kids, more effective at work, and she wasn't snapping at her husband anymore. That's the power of matching the remedy to the actual problem. Combination 2 for heart chi deficiency, lotus seeds plus foxnut plus yam. This combination is for those of you who feel like your body has been completely drained. You know that feeling like you're running on empty, like your battery is at 1% and the charger is broken, like every cell in your body is tired. You wake up in the morning and you're somehow more tired than when you went to bed. You walk up a flight of stairs and you're gasping for air like you just ran a marathon. You feel like your heart is beating but weakly, like it's just going through the motions with no real power behind it. Your voice is soft and you have to repeat yourself because people can't hear you. You're sweating for no reason. You'll just be sitting at your desk and suddenly break out in a sweat. Everything feels like effort, even brushing your teeth, if that sounds like you. This is your combination. Let me explain the ingredients. Foxnut is also called urial seed or chicken head in some places because of its shape. It's been used for centuries and is considered a top tier ingredient. What does it do? It locks in your energy. Think of your body like a bucket with holes in it. You pour water in, but it keeps leaking out. Foxnut patches those holes. It holds onto your vital energy so your body can actually store and use it. That's critical because we're all losing energy constantly through stress, through staying up late, through overworking, through overthinking. Foxnut helps you stop the bleeding. Yam is something I recommend to almost everyone. I often tell my patients that yam is ginseng for the everyman. It's affordable, it's gentle, and it works. It supports your digestion, your lungs, and your kidneys. In traditional terms, it strengthens both your acquired energy from food and your innate energy, what you're born with. And the best part, it nourishes without being heavy. Some tonics can make you feel bloated and sluggish, but yam is light and easy to digest. It's the perfect food for people who are weak and need nourishment but can't handle heavy, rich foods. So you've got lotus seeds calming the heart, foxnut locking in your energy, and yam building it up across multiple systems. Between the three of them, they cover your heart, your digestion, your lungs, and your kidneys, all the major players that give you energy and keep you going. It's like a full system recharge. How to use it: lotus seeds, 30 grams, foxnut, 30 grams, fresh yam. About 100 grams. If you're using the dried powder, use about 50 grams. Soak the lotus seeds in foxnut for 3 to 4 hours. The foxnut is especially hard, so don't skip this step. Peel and chop the yam into chunks. Be careful when peeling yam. It can be slippery, and the raw juice can irritate your skin. Put everything in a pot with about 5 cups of water, bring it to a boil, then reduce the heat and let it simmer for about an hour until everything is soft and tender. The yam should be falling apart, and the foxnut should be soft enough to bite through. You can eat this as breakfast, as lunch, or as a snack. If you're really pressed for time, you can also find pre-made powders, lotus seed powder, foxnut powder, yam powder, and mix a spoonful of each into hot water. It's not quite as good as the whole food, but it works in a pinch. When is the best time to take this? Morning? Absolutely. That's when your digestive system is most active and ready to absorb nutrients. You eat this in the morning and you'll feel the energy carry you through the whole day. If you eat it at night, you might find it gives you too much energy to sleep. How often? If your qi deficiency is severe, you're exhausted all the time, have this every morning. If it's just for maintenance, 4 to 5 times a week is good. Plan on sticking with it for 1 to 3 months. That's how long it takes to really rebuild those energy reserves. Who should be careful with this? If you struggle with constipation, foxnut can make it worse because it's astringent. You can cut the amount in half or add some flaxseed or honey to keep things moving. If you're prone to bloating or indigestion, start with a smaller portion and work your way up. Your digestive system might need time to adjust to the extra starch. And just like before, if you have an acute illness, a cold, the flu, a cough, a fever, don't take this. Your body needs to push the illness out, and tonics can trap it inside and prolong your sickness. Here's another patient story for you. A guy in his early 40s came to see me. He was a software engineer working crazy hours, living on takeout, and never exercising. He told me, and I'm quoting him directly, "Doc, I feel like I'm 70 years old. My body feels completely hollowed out." He said he was tired all the time, even after sleeping 10 hours on weekends. He'd get winded walking up 3 flights of stairs to his apartment. His heart would pound, but weakly, like it was struggling, like it just didn't have the power to push. He was sweating through his shirts for no reason, even in an air-conditioned office. I looked at his tongue. It was pale, swollen, and had teeth marks on the edges. His pulse was thin and weak. That's a classic textbook picture of severe qi deficiency. This guy's body was screaming for help. I gave him some herbal formulas to support his energy, and I told him to eat this porridge, lotus, foxnut, yam every single morning. I also told him he needed to start sleeping more, but we'll talk about lifestyle changes another day. 2 months later, he walked into my office, and I barely recognized him. He had more color in his face, he was standing taller, and he told me his energy had completely turned around. He could walk upstairs without gasping, he wasn't sweating through his clothes, he wasn't falling asleep at his desk at 3 in the afternoon, and the best part, he told me, "I didn't think simple food could do this, I was waiting for a prescription." But this actually worked. He said had been eating it every morning and it had become a habit he actually looked forward to. That's the beauty of food as medicine. It's sustainable, it's affordable, it's something you can do for yourself every day. Combination 3 for heart fire excess. Lotus seeds plus lily bulb plus millet. This last combination is for those of you who feel like there's a fire burning inside your chest. You feel hot, agitated, irritable, and you just can't seem to cool down no matter what you do. You're snapping at everyone, your spouse, your kids, your coworkers, the person who cut you off in traffic. Your mouth is constantly dry. No matter how much water you drink, you lie in bed at night and your brain is spinning, thinking about work, about your to-do list, about that email you forgot to send, about that thing your mother-in-law said at Thanksgiving. Your chest feels tight, almost like you're suffocating. You keep getting canker sores, and your tongue is bright red. Especially at the tip, you might also notice that your face feels hot and flushed. If any of that rings a bell, this combination is your new best friend. Let's talk about the ingredients. Lily bulb is beautiful, the same lily you see in flower arrangements, but the bulb is edible and incredibly medicinal. It's white, which relates to the lungs. It cools you down, but not in a harsh, shocking way. It cools by nurturing your body's fluids. Think of it like putting out a fire with a gentle mist instead of a fire hose. It's very gentle and very effective. It's also very soothing to the lungs, which is important because in traditional medicine, the lungs and the heart are connected. When your lungs are working well, your heart doesn't have to work as hard to oxygenate your blood. Millet is one of those grains that we often overlook. We eat wheat, rice, and corn. But millet tends to get forgotten. In traditional terms, it's considered the king of grains. It supports your lower abdomen, the area where your deep energy is stored. It's especially good for people with heat because it's naturally slightly cooling, and it's incredibly gentle on your stomach for people with heart fire. Your digestion is often inflamed too, and millet helps soothe that. It's also gluten-free, so it's a great option for people with sensitivities. So you've got lotus seeds cooling the heart directly, lily bulb cooling and nurturing your fluids, and millet cooling and soothing your digestion. Three different angles, all aimed at that excess fire. It's like having three different fire extinguishers aimed at the same blaze. How to use it: lotus seeds, 20 grams, lily bulb, 20 grams. If dried, soak it for an hour first, or about 50 grams if fresh. Millet, 100 grams. Soak the lotus seeds for 2 hours in a pot with about 6 cups of water. Add the lotus seeds first and simmer for 20 minutes. Then add the lily bulb and the millet and cook for another 30 minutes until everything is soft and the porridge is nice and creamy. This one is naturally a little sweet, so you don't need to add sugar. It's delicious on its own. The millet gives it a nice, comforting texture. When should you take this? Evening is perfect. People with heart fire usually struggle most at night when they're trying to wind down and their brain won't cooperate. This porridge calms you down and helps you transition into sleep. Aim to have it about an hour before bed. How often? If your heart fire is really bad, you're irritable and can't sleep, have it every night. If it's just occasional, 3 to 4 times a week is fine. You'll know if it's working because you'll start feeling calmer and sleeping better. Who should skip this? If you have a cold constitution, always cold hands and feet. Loose stools and you feel better with warm foods, this will be too cooling for you. You'll feel worse, colder, and more tired. If you have loose stools or diarrhea, cut back on the lily bulb. It's slightly cooling and can make that worse. And again, if you have an active cold or flu, don't take this. It can trap the illness inside. Another real patient story. I had a patient, a mid-level manager in a high-stress corporate job. She came to me almost in tears. She told me she had been snapping at her team at work, snapping at her husband, snapping at her kids. She said, "I don't even recognize myself. I'm angry all the time. I feel like I'm turning into someone I don't want to be." She couldn't sleep at night. Her mind would race with work problems. When she did fall asleep, she had nightmares, she had constant canker sores, her mouth was always dry, and her tongue was bright red with a yellow coating. She was also drinking 3 cups of coffee a day to get through work, which was just making things worse. That's a textbook case of liver fire spilling over into heart fire. The stress, the coffee, the rich foods, all of it was fueling that fire. I gave her some herbs to soothe her liver, and I told her to eat this lotus lily and millet porridge every night before bed. I also told her to cut back on the coffee and switch to green tea or herbal tea. 1 month later, she came back with a completely different energy. She said the irritability had dropped dramatically. She was sleeping better, falling asleep faster, and waking up less often during the night. The canker sores had cleared up, and she told me the most noticeable change was that she could finally turn her brain off at night. She could lie down and actually relax instead of ruminating. She told me, "I feel like myself again." Quick tips for buying and using lotus seeds. Now that we've covered the 3 combinations, let me share some practical tips on lotus seeds themselves, because honestly, if you pick the wrong kind, you're not going to get the results you want. First, the different types. You'll usually see 2 kinds at the store: white lotus seeds and red lotus seeds. White ones have had their skin removed. They're better for clearing heat and cooling you down. Red ones still have their skin, and because they're red, they're better for nourishing blood. So if you have heart fire, go for white. If you have blood deficiency, go for red. It's that simple. Now, what about the green heart inside? That's the lotus plumule. It's bitter, and it's specifically for clearing heat from the heart. If you have heart fire and you're irritable with a red tongue, leave it in. If you have blood deficiency or chi deficiency and you're pale and tired, take it out. The bitterness is too strong and can upset your digestion if you're already weak. Some people like the bitterness, but most people find it unpleasant. Fresh versus dried, fresh lotus seeds taste great and have a nice texture, but they don't last long. Dried ones are more concentrated and more consistent in terms of medicinal effect. If you're trying to support your health, I'd recommend dried. They're also easier to find and store. And finally, let me bust a few myths. Myth number 1, more is better. Stick to 30 to 50 grams a day. More than that can cause bloating and digestive upset. It's like anything else. Moderation is key. Myth number 2, you can eat them raw. Please don't. Raw lotus seeds are hard and difficult to digest. Always cook them. Your stomach will thank you. Myth number 3, everyone can eat them. Not true. If you're severely constipated, be careful. They have an astringent quality that can make it worse if you're prone to bloating. Start with a smaller amount and work your way up. Let's bring it all together. All right, we've covered a lot today. Let me summarize the 3 combinations so you can remember them easily. If you have heart blood deficiency, pale face, palpitations, Insomnia, forgetfulness, light periods, use lotus seeds plus longan plus red dates. If you have heart chi deficiency, fatigue, shortness of breath, weak heartbeat, easy sweating, low energy, use lotus seeds plus foxnut plus yam. If you have heart fire excess, irritability, dry mouth, difficulty sleeping, canker sores, red tongue, use lotus seeds plus lily bulb plus millet. Now, what if you have a mix of symptoms? Let's say you feel tired and pale, that's deficiency, but you're also irritable and have a dry mouth, that's fire. That happens. You can alternate, have combination one day and combination three the next day. Listen to your body. It will tell you what it needs. Some days you might feel more depleted and need the nourishing combos. Other days you might feel more angry and hot and need the cooling combo. How do you know for sure which type you are? Let me make it really simple. If you're pale, tired, forgetful, and have trouble sleeping, you're in the deficiency group, go with combination 1. If you're exhausted, short of breath, sweaty, and your heartbeat feels weak, you're in the chi deficiency group, go with combination 2. If you're irritable, hot, thirsty, have canker sores, and can't sleep because your mind is racing, you're in the fire group, go with combination 3. And here's the most important thing I want you to take away from today. This is not a quick fix. You didn't develop these imbalances overnight, and you're not going to fix them in 3 days. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes consistency. If you stick with the right combination consistently, you'll start noticing changes in about 1 to 3 months. Your sleep will improve, your energy will come back, the irritability will fade, and if you keep it up for 6 months or longer, you might see a fundamental shift in how you feel overall. Your complexion might improve, your nails might get stronger. Your hair might get thicker, your overall sense of well-being might increase dramatically, and I need to be really clear about this does not replace medical care. If you have a known heart condition, if you've had an abnormal EKG, if you have chest pain, if you have shortness of breath, that's concerning, please. Go see a doctor, get the tests, get the diagnosis. These foods are support. They are not a substitute for professional medical treatment. I say this because I care and I don't want anyone to put themselves at risk. Medicine has a place, and so does food. They work best together. At the end of the day, taking care of your heart isn't about expensive supplements or miracle cures. It's about understanding your body, giving it what it actually needs, and being consistent. It's about small daily actions that add up over time. It's about making choices that support your long-term health instead of looking for quick fixes that don't work. Your heart works for you every single second of every single day without complaint. It beats about 100,000 times a day, pumping blood to every cell in your body. It keeps you alive, keeps you moving, keeps you loving the people you care about. It deserves a little attention. It deserves a little love. So start today. Pick the combination that fits you, make it part of your routine, and give your heart the support it's been asking for. Go to the store, buy the ingredients, and make it happen. Your future self will thank you. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear which combination you're going to try, or if you've used any of these before, share your experience with the community. We all learn from each other, and if you're dealing with any health concerns, please schedule a visit with your primary care doctor. I'm here to help you understand the science and the tradition behind these approaches, not replace professional medical advice. Take care of yourselves, be kind to your hearts, and I'll see you in the next one.